Hello and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is Dave and I am one of several heads on today's Pendragon night as we continue the solo adventure. I want to give thank you to Roll20, which we're using to show some of the character sheets and things during this game. And we'll do a quick whip around, say howdy doody, meet all of our people, and then we'll meet our knight, whose name I've forgotten how to pronounce. We'll start with you, and can you pronounce the name because you named them?
Sure. Hi, I'm Art. I am one of, technically, I think few is the correct collective term for four. Several is too many. We are too few for several, too many for couple. So I think we're few. Just to make sure that we get our collective generalized. What is this? It's not is it an adjective? Is it a noun? Is it a I don't know. Adverb? Noun? Great. Collective.
We're in noun town.
Yeah, I'm also one of the heads of this ogre / goblin / something, and I'm definitely bringing the ogre / goblin / something energy today.
Woohoo! What's our character's name?
Our character's name is Pridwin.
Pridwin.
Named after the character name in the book that I went, that's the blimp from Fallout 4. And that's how I know how to pronounce it. It's the Pridwin.
And that charming horse girl. Speaking of charming horse girls, let's go across to James.
That is me. Thank you for noticing. I've put a lot of effort into it. Yes, I am James, and I, in honor of Jackson not being around, have done a bunch of detailed research into the exact pronunciation of Old English words. So I'm going to do my absolute best. The great thing is that whenever something was French inspired, I just went, okay, it's French now, and crossed off any legitimacy to the Old English and just decided to roll my R's aggressively.
Sounds like a good strategy to me. All right, and finally, Alex.
Hello, I am Alex, and I am for today, final head on this troll of a knight, who is not indeed a troll. Our little Pidwin is a 14-year-old horse girl who has developed some fairly contradictory personality traits, which should make it very interesting to get her into her own kind of trouble and get her back out again, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think so far she's done an admirable job. So, a quick recap from last time. We are Pridwin, and we are not even a squire, to my understanding. We are like what was the term? We're like a page to a squire. Mm-hmm. And we, along with our companions, Kay and Arthur, who are like people that we, I guess, live with on Sir Ector's estate, have participated and we went on a big hunt where we saw a boar, which charged at us, and we met a sort of pagan in the woods. I don't think he was actually a pagan. I think he was pretty traditionally religious, right? He was saying mm-hmm. He was saying our flavor of religion. Yeah, that's good. Oh, thank God.
He
Otherwise,
wasn't pagan. He was just sad.
And then we had a charming event where we were hosting the current petty king. Well, I think it was just king. I think that's the Crusader King's term. The king, who is not the High King, but there's going to be a tournament which will determine the High King. And good news, that's where we pick up. So we'll reread the final passage from last time, which James, you did such an excellent job the first time. I'm going to ask you to do it again. And then we will resume our story. So I think without further ado, we'll just crack into it. Jimbo, want to give us a whirl?
Let's do it. Oh boy, it would have been bad if you'd told me not to read this one, considering how many notes I took on the exact pronunciation. Let's get into it. It has been a month since you left home in the company of Sir Ector, Sir Kay, and Arthur, and for the entire time you have endured chill wind and rain and blowing snow, leaving you wet, cold, and miserable. You have often thought of home, dreaming of the warmth of the hearth and good company. Alice made you promise to tell her of the sights of Londinium, so you have that much to look forward to when you return, at least. Your journey began on the rough trail that follows the course of the River Dee out of Penland to the City of Legions. You did not linger long in that thriving seaport with its merchants and travelers from all over the world, or so it seemed to you, before returning southeast along the old Roman road to the kingdom of Camelard. At Caoaz Castle, roll the arms. That wasn't really rolled, but whatever. You turned south and entered the great kingdom of Logres, passing over the Chiltern Hills and through the Roman cities of Corinium and Silchester. The latter part of the journey has been unsettling, like riding through enemy territory, thanks to the constant threat of Saxon raiders in the area. Since the defeat of King Nathanlid of Escavalion at the Battle of Netley Marsh 2 years ago, the Saxon kings of the southeast coast have grown increasingly bold. Sir Ector has had plenty to say about the current political situation during your journey. What you have managed to absorb is that the fractious warlords of Britain are doomed to fall one by one to the ambitious Saxons, and that the land is in desperate need of a leader who can unify everyone. Nathanlid was the last and best hope for someone to accomplish this by force of arms. Now, by mutual agreement, a tournament is to be held at the old capital city of Londinium, on the border of the Saxon kingdoms. The winner, it has been agreed, will be named High King, with great expectations to bring the Saxons to heel. Last night, you slept in the stables of Castle Staines, where you were surprised to find the steward in service to Sir Ulfus, the famous Duke of the Vale, was himself a Saxon. Ector explained to you that the Saxons of the county of Berok have long been allies of the Cymri, your people. It's the kings and warlords, Saxon and Cymri alike, who visit so much woe upon our lands, he said with a sigh, staring into the half-fire of the great hall at Staines. You and Arthur listened attentively. The Saxons have their own style of high king, which they call a Bretwalda. Their kings fight amongst themselves as much as they fight us, and our own counts and dukes, inheritors of our proud Cymric and Roman traditions, lay siege to each other's castles or usurp thrones from those too weak to hold their claim. Everyone scrambles for the prize, and for what? Power and wealth? That's all they care for.
Well done pronouncing Nathan. I would have had no idea.
Yeah, so apparently it's Nathan. Also, quick credit to a random forum post on one of the old Chaosium forums made in 2012, which led to a collaborative Google sheet that is still maintained to this year, containing a bunch of there's about one edit every 18 months, but they're killing it.
That's amazing.
Wait, so just because I did slightly tune out, it's Nathanliod?
Look, I mean, I don't actually have any rigorous proof of this, but it's derived from the name Nathan, so it's Nathanlid. Is how I've been going for it. And the other,
we could just call him King Nathan.
Old Nathan.
That brings me great joy.
The only two other interesting ones were Escavalion, I think, and then the Carohays as Cowes.
That was a good one.
Yeah, fun stuff.
So I noticed a little something during this one, and that's that K is now Sir K, right up the top there, and he was not knighted when we left, right? It's been a little bit, so that must have happened. And I also remember from the import that there's a pop-out box, a page down called K Gets His Spurs, and I'm suspecting that's what happened there. So I reckon we might read that one before we... Or do we want to read 75 into... Oh, they seem kind of tied together. But let's read 75 and then let's go to Spurs next. So, Alex, you want to pick up with 75 for us, please?
I sure do. Cat away from microphone. This morning you were already on the road when the sun came up, and the day dawned cold but clear over frost-rimmed fallow fields and woodland. It is around midday when you first catch sight of Londinium, situated on the mighty River Thames. The greatest city in all of Britain, its stout Roman walls present an impressive edifice, and within you see countless rooftops, towers, and church spires, as well as the truly magnificent Basilica of St. Paul. How can so many people live so close together? Asks Arthur in wonder, echoing your thoughts. Several Roman roads feed into Londinium. The one you are on, Watling Street, forms the north boundary of the grounds marked out for the big New Year's tournament. You see a veritable town made of tents, riotous in colour, hosting many of the visiting knights and lords due to fight on the morrow. The excitement in the air is palpable. Watling Street passes through the city walls at Newgate, which, despite its name, is centuries old. Riding beneath the gate, you note a niche in the apex of the arch, a carven relief depicting the Trojan hero Carinus overthrowing the giant Gogomog. Sir Ector told you this story during your journey, and you reflect that ever since the arrival of Brutus and his Trojans, Britain has seen many waves of invaders from across the sea. Invaders is in scare quotes for those wondering. You are shaken from your cinnamon. Sorry, my cat is trying to consume my jumper.
Good for her.
Zip first, so we're just gonna. Do you mind?
Is it a Saxon cat, Alex? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
It is
Blink
a
twice
chaos
if you're in
cat.
trouble.
Help! You are shaken from your reveries by the sight of the street beyond the gate. Buildings as high as 3 stories crowd in from either
Whoa.
side, and in the street itself throng men, women, children, horses, asses, dogs, pigs, and all in what seems a great swirling tumult of jostling, shouting, squealing, braying racket. Kay, go see about lodgings. There's a good lad, says Hector, seeming a bit overwhelmed himself. We will wait for you in the courtyard of St. Paul's, just ahead. There is little need for Hector to point out the location of the famous cathedral, for it is easily the greatest structure in the city, dwarfing even the citadel of the White Tower and Lud's Castle, the 2 great Roman stone forts on the banks of the Thames. Sir Kay and Arthur carefully guide their mounts through the throngs as you and Hector make for the cathedral. As soon as you enter the courtyard, the noise and chaos of the city seems to fade. You dismount, grateful for an opportunity to stretch your sore muscles, then begin tending to the horses, which is what you do because you were a horse girl. You have barely started on your tasks when Sir Hector calls you over to some sort of monument erected right outside the cathedral's massive front doors. As you approach, you see a strange marvel, a great stone block surmounted by an anvil. Driven into the anvil is a sword, still bright and sparkling in the sunshine. Sir Hector brushes aside a bit of snow on the shaded side of the block and points to some letters carved into the rock. Like most members of the knightly class, you lack clerical education and do not know your letters. Nor does Sir Hector, for that matter, but he has heard others tell of the inscription's words. It says something like, "Only the true king can pull me forth," or words to that effect. Many knights, including the best in the land, have tried, but all say that it will not budge in the slightest. Y'all, we found the sword.
Oh, yes.
Yep. I also love that we have 2 options, which is get Sir Hector to do it, try it ourselves, and not the correct option, which is, hey, Arthur, get your ass over here. You're going to be king of all England.
Buddy, right. Mate, pal.
Have a go at this. I don't know when. I think this might have a minute or 2 to resolve, so I might nip up and read Kay gets his spurs, then we'll return to resolve this and pass it to Art. Alright. Kay gets his spurs. Kay realized his great ambition on St. Andrew's Day. This is how it happened. King Moen took up position in Sir Hector's hall, garbed in his finest cloak and tunic. His court assembled behind him. You, Arthur, and the rest of the household lined up near Sir Hector, who looked almost as nervous as Kay. The man of the hour stood, pale and resolute, in full armor. On his left arm he bore a shield, while with his right arm he held his helm. He wore neither his sword nor spurs. The king called Kay forth. Kay handed his helm and shield to his father and stepped up. My people, I am so pleased to be here on this holy day to see such a worthy young man join the ranks of glorious knighthood. Squire, tell me your name. Kay, sire. Have you come before me shriven of your sins and ready to take upon a new life? Aye. Then take this, the last blow you shall ever suffer without recourse. With that, King Moen slapped Kay hard across the chops. The sound reverberated through the hall, and you saw one of Kay's fists start to clench before he martyred himself. Kneel before me, Kay. As Kay kneeled, Sir Jonas stepped forward with a sheathed sword. Do you acknowledge me as your true and rightful liege? Yes, sire. Do you pledge homage and fealty to me, and swear your sword to me, to be forever at my service? I so pledge. Moen unsheathed the sword and touched the blade to each of Kay's shoulders. Then I dub thee Sir Kay, and give this, my sword, to you, to be wielded in my name. Arise, Sir Knight. The king belted Sir Kay's sword about his waist as Arthur, now Sir Kay's squire, moved forward to attach his spurs. Sir Hector then gave back the shield and helm. Sir Kay turned to face the rest of the hall, and everyone cheered. Afterward, he demonstrated his prowess by leaping into the saddle of his charger in full kit without use of stirrup or rein. The whole affair was topped off with another wonderful feast. There was one other change that day. With Kay no longer a squire, Sir Hector was in need of a new one, and so you were promoted as well. Cool! There's a couple of interesting things in there.
We're a squire.
One is that, we're a squire. That's sick. It's cool that the spurs are as important as the sword's so, like, still in modern, like, tropes and things, I think, whereas the spurs, I would say, are not. And the reference to him leaping on the horse. So in the core rulebook, they have when a squire is knighted, when you become a knight, they have like the ritual described as like how you might run as a GM, and they've got a role for doing this. For like, can you do this jump onto the horse after it? And it's basically like, if you beef it, you're not a knight, but everyone's a bit like, come on, man, that sucked. And you can it's just kind of like a cool thing. Like, I love that it's just purely, I don't know, ego. It's just fun. I like it. It's neat.
I also really love the description of like the last blow you shall ever suffer without recourse. Sick. Being like, as soon as you are knighted, if anyone like hits you or chat, like, you have every legal right as given to you by your liege to be like, are you fucking challenging me? Because let's go.
Yeah, 100%. And also, I guess like then it's a blow against the king too. Yeah.
I'm still in etymology headspace, and I've just realized something, that homage must, well, I have no idea if it actually does, but I presume it's related to, homme as in man in French, fragrance, or so do you swear homage to me? Do you swear to be like
my man?
Yeah,
interesting. That's cool.
Also, depending on like where you learn, that the pronunciation of that word in English is homage. We don't pronounce the H, or some like there is like, you would say, do you pay homage to someone? You can pronounce the H, but like in the area of Australia where I grew up and with like the group, like I learned to pronounce it as homage. I know it is
without it, It's one of those ones, Jim, remember we had a big conversation, I can't remember if it was with this group that we were talking about, but we were doing all the like the French words and things sort of slipped through, and it just considered like English noun, homage, repartee, what was the other one, like applause, Jim, or like there was one in the encore was one. Riposte was it?
Encore, yeah.
Faux pas. So many of
like
them.
homage is one that I didn't even consider as not English. I mean, I guess it's the bones. It's the bones of it coming through, but that we pronounce it in the French manner. I suppose.
Well, because that's like, so originally, and here's the fun thing I learned when looking up like going real deep into etymology. So like the OG Saxons were all Germanic. So a lot of the like English that we have that has Germanic based roots are from Saxon times. The Normans, who were French, took over. When they took over, they became the aristocracy. They insisted on using French and pushed that down the line to all the peasantry, which is why the name of the animal itself has a Germanic root, a la pig, but the name of the meat that we get from the animal is based on the French word a la porc or porcine, which is like, because the gentry were the ones that ate the nice stuff, and the peasantry were the ones that like dealt with the animals themselves. So like you can tell at what point different words entered the English like language as a whole based on whether they are Old English roots, which are Germanic based, or whether they are French or Latin based, which is the Normans, or whether it's more modern, we've just gotten it from, like yeet. I don't know where that, maybe that's American, maybe that's like maybe there's an association with Yates there or something like that. Who knows?
I suppose that's one of the great things about Pendragon, and I think that the idea of this version is based on basically the French legends that were put together. I think basically the largest sort of spread version was put together by French troubadours, which is, I've heard, I don't know if it's true, is why Lancelot was put in basically as an insert, because the French didn't want any of the English characters to be too cool.
That's so funny.
I think that, I don't really have a good memory of that, but to bring it back to the campaign at hand, I think that this sword is not the sword or something like that. I think there are multiple swords.
Well, there's the sword in the lake, right? Is the other one, and how about
Clarence?
I suspect
let's. Handing you a sword is not a system of government.
That's your one. That's your one. That's your one.
Thanks.
You've used it. You've used it.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of that, let's return. Alex, Alex, if you want to restate the stakes, we'll make our decision, and Art can take it from here. Oh, you're muted, I think. Or you're swearing at your cat.
One or the other.
Basically, Ector's like, hey, here's the story of this sword. It's in a rock. It's not going to budge unless you're the king. He doesn't really like tell you anymore, but then you're looking at this sword in the rock, and you're like, am I going to encourage Sir Ector to pull it out, or am I going to give it a go myself? You don't have much to ask the man called Arthur to do it, but...
We should probably just revisit what our big traits are again, because I know we're reckless, and we're courteous.
Our biggest one is honest. Our biggest is honest. And then valorous.
Valorous.
I think
we are reckless, but I do think courtesy's got to win out in this case.
I think we're a bit of a brown noser.
Also, we know to be honest, we know the story of the Arthurian legend. I think part of the fun of Pendragon is playing along and that, like, embracing a little bit, So I say we ask Ector to do it because, courteous, and we know deep down it won't work, and let's be honest about it.
We're also recently made a squire, so I think we're kind of, like, really trying to, we're like, oh, wow, Sir Ector, you could probably have a go. Yeah. And also then if he's High King, we're definitely getting something out of it.
We're getting something.
All right, so, Ella, do you want to pick up 76. From 76? Yeah.
I shall. Sir Ector demurs at your suggestion. No, not I, he says. Such a lowly knight as myself. High King of Britain? I think not, he chuckles. Here comes Kay. You have learnt an important lesson today. Check modest. And go to 78.
That's quite fun.
Don't try to pull the sword. Very demure.
I've checked modest.
Thank you.
Boo.
Sorry,
Boo.
that got me good.
Boo. Jamie, that counts as your one. I'm handing out ones.
So Kay enters the courtyard. I found an inn with a room available. Last one in Londinium, or so the old crone who runs the place claimed. Father, I think every knight in Britain has come for this tournament. Kay's eyes are bright with excitement, and as the shock of the city has begun wearing off, you can understand why. Save for Rome and Jerusalem, Londinium must be the greatest city in the world. The excitement is infectious. You help lead your mounts through the streets to the inn stables, get them unpacked and settled in, and report back to Sir Ector outside the inn itself. I expect you'll be wanting to see the city then, he asks. Take the afternoon to explore, but mark that you are back by supper time. You cannot believe your fortune as he hands you 2 silver pennies.
Whoa!
Just in case you find a souvenir, he says with a wink.
Right.
You have a few hours to yourself in one of the world's great capitals. What would you like to do? To examine the tournament grounds outside the city walls, go to 91. If you would prefer to wander the streets for a bit first, go to 79.
I think we are all in on this nightly shit, and I think we want to see those tournament grounds. I think we're like, all right, we're gonna suss them out, get some intel, and talk to Arthur about it, and really play that one up.
The horses are at the tournament ground.
My only thing is, it kind of suggested wander the streets for a bit. I think we might be able to do that first, and then also do the tournament. I don't want to miss the tournament, but it will be fun to just have a little snoop.
Hang on.
Oh, that is definitely phrased in a way that it won't be for a bit. Something will happen, and that'll be the whole day.
But you are right.
I think because, just FYI, when it says if you want to go to the city walls, go to 91. 79 will lead us to 90, not 91. So we don't go to the tour. I think we pick between the two.
If we're interpreting the bones there, I guarantee 90 is a bridging passage that takes us right into 91. It's just gonna connect it and slid it in, doesn't it? Ah, oh, damn.
I checked. It takes us to 93.
Yeah, this is a.
Okay, all right. Well, at that point, we've fully vetted it.
Which again, I don't know if it eventually leads us back. I'm just I did a very quick check to be where is this leading us? Just so that if we do.
I was absolutely trying to game it and do both. So I think with that in mind, 91 is our priority. We don't want to miss. And I think in character 2, we probably would go to the tournament.
I mean, I think. The other thing is we could always just say we just futz around with it. Maybe we can always come back and read it and be we're gonna change our decision. So
let's just start with which one we're starting with.
Let's go. Pridwin had gone shopping.
Squire Pridwin. I think we would do. I think the tournament we had recently made squires. I think we would do the tournament. I think that's where we had the most interest, right? So why don't we proceed to 91 and do you want to keep taking it for a little bit?
Can indeed.
Oh, look at all this cool stuff we're skipping.
91.
Hate it here.
Goodness, sorry. I need to do a very...
It is a bridge. I can see it. It just skips 91. Furious.
Well, we've missed our shopping trip. We can always go back and shop later. Maybe the money will come in handy, genuinely. Maybe there's something there.
Yeah, we're being frugal.
We can start gambling. As soon as you put any TTRPG and there's any kind of contest, I feel like that's when the gambling starts.
I hope so. Let's be really rich. Let's buy a
We're
sword.
gonna put all of our pennies on art to win.
We got it.
I believe you're muted.
I am muted. I said don't do that. That's a bad plan. I am famously good at overestimating my own abilities. To the east of Londinium proper, between Watling Street and Fleet Street. Oh, hey, Fleet Street, we're back.
Oh my god.
Different era, but we're back.
It is funny having like
large
Watling
area of
Street. It really is just London, isn't it? You can hear it.
A large area
Piccadilly.
of untilled fields has been marked out for the big New Year's tournament. The concept of a tournament was the subject of much debate between Sir Ector and Sir Kay on the journey here. It is something new, something unfamiliar, and so Sir Ector is naturally suspicious. "'Tis but a Frankish thing, a custom from the continent," he would sniff derisively. "No substitute for a proper battle. You use blunt weapons, you know? Where's the challenge in that?" "We use blunt weapons when we practice at home," Kay would counter. "I'm rather looking forward to the opportunity to go up against some of the greatest knights in Britain without having to risk life and limb. Sounds like a jolly good fun. Besides, we do enough of the real thing. Too much, if you ask me. These tournaments, if they catch on, could be a good way for us to work out our aggressions without having to go to war all the time." I feel like Kay is someone that we have... I guess he's more bravado than actual warmongering, but...
And also, I feel like that is some, as they say, some king shit.
Yeah, man, he's matured a bit.
Now walking the grounds, you spot several interesting sights to explore. Looking at the tents, you note several well-known standards flying from tent poles. Perhaps you might encounter a famous knight while walking the aisles. Like we're in a supermarket night shopping. Oh, look, I'll take one of those, please. Then there is the market, where you see vendor stalls and some kind of entertainment taking place. Judging from the shouting and cheers, as well as the barking of large dogs, you would guess it is a bull baiting contest. Oh no. Lastly, and most curiously, you spot a corral filling with squires armed with staves. If you did not know any better, you would say a fight is about to break out. Go to 92.
You want to grab us, Jim?
92 simply says, "Where do you want to go?" Do you want to take a stroll amongst the knights' tents? Do you want to check out the markets and animal fights? Do you want to see what's going on with the squires and the corral? If you have suffered an injury and require treatment, or if you've seen enough for the day, yeah.
We found the point where we will loop to.
By a boar at some point. I feel like the boar goring may have happened if we'd have made different choices earlier.
Well, there's theoretically a long time in between that. Oh, like, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I suspect it's also we go and go like, "Hey, squires, what's going on?" And we get booped on the head, and we're like, "Oh, go get that bandage."
Yeah,
I think we were very good not going shopping earlier, so that we've earned a bit of shopping now. Yeah, just
but then we have to go deal with the animal fights.
Animal fights, yeah, no, I'm with you on that one.
Good point.
Assuming that it is just shopping, we can absolutely. I'm just not a fan of the idea of going like, "Oh yeah, animal fighting. That's fun."
Should we go straight to take a stroll amongst the tents then?
I think that's our best chance of seeing a knight's horse.
Tents or squires? Yeah.
I mean, again, we are courteous. Our big thing is like, hey, we want to go do the thing. We could see if we find a famous knight, and if we don't, then we could get our ass handed to us by a bunch of squires.
Yeah, in that order.
And be like, "Well, I don't like you. I like horses. Leave me alone." You know.
Right. You want to take us from 93, Jim?
I will jump in, but I want to quickly say first, while we're still finding new sayings, I bet high standards is about the people who were allowed to raise their flags the highest or something like that.
Yeah, I like that.
No one Google that. That's just now canon.
The tent city hosts the overflow of knights and their entourages who could not find lodging in the city. Row upon row of colourful tents and pavilions, from tiny to palatial, create a veritable labyrinth populated by martial men and women. Pennants fluttering from each tent pole display the arms of the knights residing within. Squires run to and fro on missions from their lords. Knights sit outside their tents, chatting with compatriots, strumming their harps, or playing games of skill to pass the time. You pause outside one large tent, party-coloured yellow and blue, which you recognize as the heraldry of the Count of Salisbury. A knight is stepping out of the tent, and although you realize you are blocking the way, you cannot help but gawp. Although you are aware that women may become knights, they are almost unheard of where you come from. But here, in the flesh, is a woman knight. She is obviously a veteran of many years fighting. Her steel hair neatly matches the iron of her armor. Her hands are rough and knotted, and you spot a couple of small but nasty scars on her face. Following her is a young man about Arthur's age, but dressed as a knight. He is almost the mirror image of the other, fresh-faced and unblemished, but he shares her martial bearing, and they are clearly at ease with each other. It is also intuitively obvious that he is her social better. If you wish to talk to the man, go to 94. If you wish to talk to the woman, go to 95. If you wish to get out of their way, go to 92.
I feel like at this point,
woman, knight.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of regardless of. Yeah, also, like there's something very nice about like fresh-faced horse girl seeing like rough, knight and being like, hi.
This really does read as a woman protagonist. You mentioned it the other day, Jim, of like how it's been written.
Yeah,
it definitely feels it.
All right, protagonist and maybe queer.
Yeah,
yay.
Cool.
I won't jump any further. I'll let someone else read, but I just want to mention something quickly because it occurred to me as I was going through that, something that David Larkins said when I was chatting with him at one point. The tournaments weren't a thing in England. They were one of those things that were completely invented by the troubadours who put them in retroactively because that's what they had experience of. Like they didn't have sort of the historical knowledge to go, tournaments weren't a thing, but they did them in like the 11th century or whatever when they were writing the story, so they just chucked them in. I think it's really cool that you can see how, this version of Pendragon is taking like the applied mistakes of the original
and then like
writers
interpreting
and then, like,
them a bit.
And adding extra context and layering. It's just a bit of fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. Alex, do you want to take us from 95?
Sure. You give the woman knight a courteous bow. A well-mannered young squire, she says. You could teach a few others around here a thing or two about deference and courtesy. Using your methods, Dame Aspara? Asks her young companion, winking. I still feel the sting of your rod across the back of my neck. She snorts derisively. It was good enough for your father? And it was good enough for you too. Nonsense. You fought alongside my father. You never tutored him. No, but we still taught each other much about the ways of the sword and lance and what it means to be a knight. Those lessons which raise welts and scars tend to last longer than those that do not. Fair enough, I suppose. Before you can stop yourself, you blurt out the question. You served under King Uther, then? Aspara's face grows grim. 2 kings, in fact. I first swore my sword to King Aurelius, the Pendragon. May the saints preserve him. Name? And his brother, Uther, yes. You sense you have touched upon a sensitive topic, but she gives you a smile to show there are no hard feelings. I take my service very seriously. I am a descendant of the Amazons, My ancestors served the Romans in Cornwall and Brittany, and I continue their tradition and honor their memory in my every word and deed. Damn, lady. If you already talked to Dame Aspara's companion, or do not wish to, go to 92. If you wish to talk to Dame Aspara's companion, go to 94.
I reckon we could say good day.
I feel like,
it'd be rude to seems not, right?
He's right
there. Also he seems fine.
We'll get a bit of context.
He seems chill.
All right, I'll take this one.
David time.
David time. You apologize to the young man for getting in the way. Think nothing of it, child, says the young man. I think we were all in each other's way for the time being. He looks around in the packed aisles before looking down at you again. I am Sir Robert, Count of Salisbury. Who are you, and whom do you serve? He asks with a friendly smile. You tell him, then ask if he plans to fight in the tournament. Certainly. I intend to do my best, though I mark my odds of winning poorly. As long as we get a king out of this, I will be happy. Our lands bleed without one. Robert tells you a bit of his county, hard up against the Saxon kingdom of Wessex, and subjected to raids and crushing tribute payments ever since the death of his father, Roderick, 15 years ago. My mother managed as best she could, with the able help of her council of knights, including Dame Aspara here. But last year, after the Battle of Netley Marsh, I insisted on taking my birthright as count. though there be no king to crown me. He barks out a short, sardonic laugh. Alright, so we've already... again. Now, the Battle of Netley was one of the ones that was mentioned in our intro passage, wasn't it? That one came... I remember Jim narrating that one, I think.
Yeah, I had a little look of it up just in the context of trying to get the like history of the word. It was one of the sort of significant battles that was said to have a pretty like influential thing, and particularly it was where old King Nate got taken out. So that ended the chance of like a single conqueror kind of rounding up everything and putting the kind of warlord infighting age to an end.
That makes tracks here too, because he's like, after the Battle of Netley Marsh, I insist on taking my birthright account, though there be no king to crown me. So if Old Mate had dropped it,
exactly, King Nathanlod, Escavalian, sorry, Escalian, I keep pronouncing it wrong. That's his full title? But, yeah.
Cool. All right, we'll return to 92, where we'll be asked once again where we want to go, and then Art can pick up the next section. I think we just continue. We could go to the market to check it out and just see what's going on.
I'm assuming we get an option to check out.
We've been primed for something appropriately morose by hearing about like the wars before, so the animal fighting maybe we can we're ready for some darkness.
Also, there's a market. We got pennies to spend.
Yeah, let's make some money. Let's get us a souvenir. All right, Art, do you want to take us from 96 then?
Sorry, I read ahead slightly, and I'm looking forward to saying some words. As you move amongst the market stalls, you clearly hear savage barking, angry bellowing, and excited cheering that marks a bull baiting contest. You know of these by reputation, but have never seen one yourself. Your understanding is that a bull is secured by a chain, and a pack of Alaunts, mastiff-like war dogs, is set upon it, harrying it until it collapses from blood loss, at which point it is butchered and roasted.
Wow, that sucks.
Bets are placed on how long the bull will last, how many dogs will be injured or killed, and other gruesome unknowns. It's perhaps a mercy that the tight-packed gaggle of peasants blocks your view of the scene if the horrible sounds coming from it, from within the ring, are any indication. As you listen, you see a familiar face walking towards you out of the crowd. It is Arthur. He's fighting back tears. "It's awful," he exclaims as he approaches you. "The bull, the dogs, the hunt is one thing, but this is butchery." An idea of how to cause a bit of mischief and perhaps make things right forms in your mind. You could cause a distraction, allowing Arthur to sneak back and free the bull from its chain. This would bring the baiting to an end, but could also cause a great deal of mayhem. No, before we decide, wait to hear the options. If you wish to go ahead with this fiendish plan, go to 97. If you instead turn away in disgust and leave the market, go to 92.
Oh, we're reckless.
We are reckless.
How clever are we? How smart are we?
Arthur's also done us a solid before. They've done a real good job of making Arthur likable, I think. You put a random NPC that the characters are meant to like in a TTRPG campaign, and it can be a little bit of a, be a little bit tough to get
all players immediately go, "No, go away. We don't like you. You're important."
Yes.
I like complex enough that he's like can be a little bit of a like a little bit of a high and mighty dick sometimes. But
my favorite comment in the chat is, "Yes, get Arthur killed by a bull when he's 12." Excellent.
Also followed up with "Horse Girl for Queen"
and fiendish plan.
Look.
Finish plan for sure.
A second as well that it was going to be you come over to the bear baiting, and then you see Arthur walking out, eyes wide, and he's like, more, I crave the blood of the nation," kind of thing. Little psychopath that you've got to take out before he gets a sword.
Literally looking at our traits, going down the list, I do think the most applicable one here is reckless. And actually, sorry, we could apply a Pendragon mechanic to this. We could roll reckless. Like, this is where you could, like, this is a point where you go, like, would my traits drive me? And we could just roll against our reckless and against our prudent, I guess, for being like, best not, and see which one takes it. Or we just know that I think it's when it's over 16, or was it 17, you almost have to roll to 16. Not do it.
Yeah.
Now, we're not there. We can choose to kind of take our path here. But it's just an interesting kind of
I do think this is a good one to roll and be like, okay, are we that reckless? We're reckless, but are we that reckless?
I think it's a cool one to kind of say.
So the mechanic is we roll we can roll against either first. If we succeed at either, that's the path we take. If we fail one, we roll against the other.
Yeah.
And if we succeed, we do that. If we fail, we still have to pick.
So
let's roll.
That's the mechanic that's been laid out in the solo adventure. The way that this would kind of work in a game, let's say I'm GMing and you've made you're at this point, I would probably just, if you probably try to turn away, I would just say roll against your reckless. And that would probably dictate. And then if you fail, you can still turn away. So you probably only do the one roll just for simplicity's sake. But in this one, yes, that's where it is.
I think that introducing this extra step I'm about to mention would cause some problems, but it would be great if we could roll against like a loyalty Arthur or something like that in this particular situation, because that would.
Well, do
we do have
that's
passions.
got to do with like
we have homage, lord, love, family, hospitality, and honor, all in play. I think let's use our
family. We've kind of grown up, but you're probably right there.
I think let's do our reckless. I think that's the one that we want to apply here. All right, so I'll go ahead and
reckless. Let's go.
I'm gonna click reckless and
get it.
See how long it takes to. Oh, that was really quick. Oh, it's a success. Okay, we're doing it.
Cool.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
God.
And I also
shall I continue?
I think also in this instance we would then tick our reckless as well. And while the scenario hasn't asked us to do
so,
we won't.
We only tick it if we get a critical success, if we roll the exact number.
Oh, is that the case? Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if we fumble,
or if the adventure says
or if it says just to. But like the way that it was laid out was if you critically succeed, you check the box. If you critically fail, you check the box on the other one, because a critical fail on one counts as a critical success towards the other, which is very fun, and I like that a lot.
I really like that.
That does make sense, because I think you rolled a lot. So if you were checking it every time you did it, you'd come out with a lot of checks. Okay.
Yeah. Cool for me to continue for.
Let's get Arthur neatly marshed.
As Arthur moves back into the crowd to get into position, you clamber up on top of a large barrel of ale and clear your throat. In order to catch the audience's attention, you will have to succeed at an orate roll.
It's so over.
Before making the roll, you may attempt an unopposed merciful trait roll. A success earns a check, but with a critical success, the check the trait and add +5 to the orate before rolling. Although traits do not confer inspiration to the same degree as passions, a critical success at the right moment can impart a small bonus, as here.
Okay.
There doesn't seem to be a penalty here either, as in, some VIP variants. I think you can
if you fumble it, it's worse.
Augment yourself, or even not fumble, even if you just fail. So even if we don't have super high merciful, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. We it's one of our positive ones. Actually, we're quite good at orate. It's one of our highest skills. We put a few points into it, if I remember.
We did pick a bit in it, yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna roll our merciful first.
This is obviously what we were meant to be doing then.
And it's good and ready to go through. It takes a second. Oh wait, sorry.
No,
it's because it's asked me to add a modifier, which I did undo. That is a success.
Hey, we succeeded, but it's not a critical, so we just get to check it.
Yes, that's right.
But we don't get to add the +5 because it wasn't a critical.
All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and do roll right. Oh, so close to a crit too. One off. All right, that is a failure.
We don't have any capacity to try and swing that in our favor at this point.
I don't believe there's any luck or pushing mechanic in Pendragon. There may be a pushing. I can't remember.
Well, I will finish off this section and then pass back because it's a very short little thing. The crowd is too caught up in the spectacle and ignores you. Arthur is not able to get the chain. Arthur appears upset and asks to be left alone for a while.
No.
Go to 92.
I'm sorry, Arthur.
Oh, we're sorry.
I actually feel bad.
So I will pass to Jim now for the next little roll.
So we are back to the central 92, where we can pick where we want to go from. We have gone for a stroll through the knight's tents. We have gone to the markets and failed to help the trapped animal. We could go and see what's happening with the squires in the corral. I think that might end up get us a head wound, which would look pretty cool.
Cool, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's
All right,
yeah. Or if we stuffed up the bull thing, that might have if we'd have freed it, and then
Just above 103, I can read. Take 7d6 damage as you are trampled by the bull.
Oh my god, 7d6.
Oh yeah, no, there it is.
I imagine that's a fumble path or something.
There it is. There's the head wound. There's the injury.
Can we take 76 damage? What is our health?
We have 27.
Founded.
We have 27 hit points.
Okay. All right. Cool.
We have little
so
armor.
it's not
though.
Call of Cthulhu where you have
Yeah.
like 9.
12.
No.
Me.
What's cool though is you like
trampling
you
you just instant death.
Pendragon has some cool stuff. Like you track individual wounds, and they need to be healed independently and stuff. So like that would be like this giant like we know like that is our bull scar, and we might carry that for a while. And then like individual nicks and scrapes can be like remedied quickly, but that one might carry for a while.
I think
That's
there's still
cool.
a pretty good chance that we also end up dying from that. Like, it's like
Oh,
on
yeah.
a D6, 3.5 average. If it's 76,
It's like
your
18
average
or
is-
17 or something.
Well, three. Yeah, I just realized I was using the wrong number and I was running it through. But anyway, let's move on and go to 103. As you approach the corral, you see many knights gathered around the fence, laughing and yelling encouragement to the squires within. You tug at the mailed sleeve of a nearby knight and ask what's going on. Eh? Why this bohort? A chance for squires to have a bit of fun bashing each other with sticks. You should join. If you would rather not get knocked about, check prudent and go back to 92. Otherwise, check reckless and get ready to jump. We have such high reckless, it feels like we have to.
Get in the mix.
I mean, at this point, it's just becoming like we are pushing ourselves to a point where we are not going to get a choice about continuing to be reckless because we've done it so many times.
My God.
Yeah.
I love it. Hell yeah, let's go.
Good for
You
us.
run to the inn and grab your gambeson and helmet, donning them as you hustle back to the tournament grounds. By the time you arrive, the bohort is underway. You clamber over the fence and a knight hands you a quarterstaff. No sooner have you turned to face the field than a much older, larger squire is coming right at you, his staff raised on high. The quarterstaff is a versatile weapon and functions, unlike others, in that you get to choose which skill you wish to use to wield it in combat. You may wield it like a spear, making jabbing motions with the tip, like a sword, holding one end with both hands, or as a two-handed, hafted weapon, with your hands positioned appropriately 1/4 of the way from each end. How you wield it determines which skill you roll against, as indicated, and how much damage you do. You may change grips in between combat rounds if you wish, with no penalty. That's pretty cool. The spear grip is best when you are using a shield, which you do not have here, and there is little point to making this grip today. The sword grip is best for inflicting the most damage, and the two-hafted grip is best for a balance between damage and protection. Go to 105. I might do this one last one too, just to finish.
Yep, I've added the quarterstaff to our attacks list, so we'll be able to use it.
Perfect. Fights are divided into a series of combat rounds. Each is a short elastic unit of time, basically the time required to think of and perform one action in melee. Melee rounds continue in succession until everyone is done fighting, either through incapacitation, death, surrender, or flight. Once you have decided on your grip, make an opposed roll against the appropriate skill based on your grip versus your opponent's sword skill of 10, as that is the grip he has chosen and will use throughout the combat. If you roll a critical success and your opponent does not, so we've got then the various combinations of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sword feels more reckless and in keeping with what we're doing, but
Yeah.
Just as a note, the pop-out box is probably worth reading before we like get real stuck in.
I reckon there might be a
few
pop out. Oh, no, they just need to do one. Okay,
this
do you want
is
to
relevant
punch
just
that
to
one?
this section.
Do you want to punch that one out quickly?
I'll finish that one off.
Jim,
then.
yep, hit it.
Withholding damage. You may choose to withhold the force of your blow by rolling fewer damage dice. You must make this decision prior to rolling against your weapon skill bonus damage dice from critical successes may not. And damage from critical successes may not be withheld. Make a note of the number of combat rounds you withhold damage dice, as this will figure into your score at the end of the adventure. Note that your opponent in this fight will never opt to withhold damage dice.
Good
Because
to
you
know.
can kind of earn like some honor by having clearly like holding
bested
back.
them. I think we're kind of reckless though, so I don't. Or are we so reckless we think we can? I don't think we have the confidence of like.
No,
I mean, I think
also,
the idea is like this is so. We do get to like see what happens to the outcome, and then before we roll damage, we get to choose whether we so we can see what like whether we
prior to rolling against your
irrespective.
weapon skill.
Yeah, and also like
We have to decide if we're doing it at the
numerically
jump.
speaking- Yeah, numerically speaking, our skill is lower than his, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, so I've quickly checked our
propose it.
two-handed for what's worth. Our two-handed hafted is 6. Our spear is 6, and our sword is 8. So we definitely want to do
8,
sword
so we gotta
grip.
sword
We
it.
could use sword. I also think that we just ticked merciful. It's kind of cool. I feel like that's the story creating itself, telling us maybe we do one round where we think we're gonna hold back because we're merciful, and then right after that we can go, oh, actually this sucks, and see if we can get his head off.
And yeah,
I can see that
like,
also.
it is also kind of reasonable for us to make the decision in the moment as this character to be like, well, we're going to withhold and then realize our opponent is not. And in that case, like that, if we have withheld and they haven't, well, then they're no longer fighting honorably. So we have a reason to turn around and be like, well, sod this. I'm gonna keep going the same. We can narrative based on what we know is going to happen, narrative a reason to like do it that way if we want to. Or we can just go from jump because we're small and wiry and no one hurts our horses and people were hurting balls before and now we're angry.
Okay.
Yeah, also this guy Lord. We've already clocked that Lord.
All right. So
I don't think we should hold back because
I also don't think we should hold back. I think we should get the bastard.
Right,
it's not like this is a smaller person than us. I think if it was somebody who was smaller, younger, weaker, we'd hold back. But I think clocking the size of this dude, nah.
Yeah.
Size of a horse. Hang on.
Okay,
let's do it.
So I'm not gonna, when we make this roll, I'm actually not gonna use the attack. We're just gonna roll the skill because the game is teaching us the rolls too. So we'll do them as 2 separate things. So we will. So all right. Who's reading at this point? And sorry, have we read 105?
So once you've decided your grip. 105 is what we got to, and Jim was reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then we make the roll. So I will roll first for our sword. So we're gonna roll. It's gonna be straight. Oh, when it was. Come here, you sillies. They're not going. We love it. And suddenly, about 3,000 rolls are about to fly through.
Oh, we just know it's suspense. We're swinging overhead. We're diving under. We're going terrified that we're about to get cut into pieces.
We close and reopen that if it wants. Oh, I see.
Bonked on the
oh
noggin.
No,
we're not using a sword.
There's 1,000 pop-ups behind that thing. Okay, never mind. I clicked the wrong thing. All right, sword. Take 2. Sword.
Swing. Bada, swing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is. Keen-eyed viewers will note that is bad. All right.
Swing, better,
But then
swing.
we need to roll his, which is
which I had
10.
here.
Yep.
Yep. Modifiers.
Oh, he fumbled.
Copy,
mate.
No.
Oh, it couldn't have gone better. This Prinwin is literally going to like. Just completely luck their way.
Okay, this might be the only one that doesn't. It's technically an if you both fail, I think.
Yeah.
Let's maybe check 111 and see if we can apply it to
him. But also, what are the rules about combat where if you fail but they fumble, does that mean you succeed, or is that
I don't?
Because there is a partial success.
Is that a partial success?
So I don't think we succeed necessarily, but I think we do. Combat.
Well, it doesn't look like there's a separate use case as well for if they fail and we
I'm gonna grab the
fumble,
Pendragon book quickly. I've got it just behind me. Be right back.
No, there is. There's a fumble. There's a fumble one for us. But
please hold while we work out what we're doing.
Whether that counts as whether it's a partial success if we fumble. Because I do remember reading something about that initially, like way up the top of partial successes.
I have the core rulebook still in the wrapping because we haven't filmed the unveiled yet.
Don't drop that.
Be very careful. No one blink, and we're gonna very carefully look for combat.
Sitting here just imagining that lovely new book smell that we don't get to experience.
Oh, I'm loving it though. Yeah. All right. Game
funny
system,
that,
traits and passions, aspirations.
It depends on whether it's like a paperback or it depends on the type of paper, because like a paperback has that real kind of like woody smell to it, but like some of the bigger ones have like a chemically kind of smell.
These ones are awesome. The paper for the Pendragon ones I think is different. It's a new one, and it's like a textured sort of like thicker
It's
cards, and it feels very
parchmenty,
parchmenty. It's really cool.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, found the
Wait,
combat
did I-
action.
I need to be like, did I pick up Pendragon at Chaosium Con? I don't remember whether I did or not. I should do that.
I think it's super cool. I think, unfortunately, it's my favorite. It does fail the sniff test. I don't think it hangs
No, it
new
smells
book
good.
smell as well, but
All right, I found it. So, character combat skill result. Fail. Scroll across. Opponent, fumble. What? Combatants lose. Neither suffer damage. Opponent drops / neither suffer damage. Opponent drops / breaks weapon. Is the written outcome. Now, that is not supported in here, but I am curious to see what would happen on our fumble to see if we can apply it across or anything. Because we're looking for any advantage we can get in this fight.
We both fail.
So, like,
you take a
if we fail and he succeeds, we take extra damage.
Oh, and it snaps his staff.
If we fumble on at 111, he breaks our staff and
yeah. Otherwise, you lose the loss of your weapon disqualifies you from the bohort. Leave the field and return.
Okay, so hold on. Let's go to 1-8.
He should be disqualified.
Let's see if 118 gives us that as an
yes,
an
that's
option.
true. That's true. It's a 118.
118 is probably the correct one in this instance.
118 is just
we just do it again. Yeah. 118. So let's go with 118.
I think he fumbled. I think his weapon should disqualify him.
What I suspect, actually, we can probably say here is we are in a brawl. We snap this person's weapon. Another person immediately takes their place.
Yeah.
Like that's I think the vibe of why that's not really.
Or he yanks another weapon off someone if he's a bit of a bully. Like it's a brawl. Shit happens quickly.
You're right.
What do you reckon, Jim?
I reckon I reckon we just nuke him. I'm too invested in Fridwin's story, but no, you're right. Let's re-roll it.
Well, I'm happy for us to say
we like back to 105. We try again.
We don't. He only does damage to us if we fumble and he succeeds. I don't know what happens if we fumble and he fails. Like that wasn't. Yeah. So we fumble.
No. That's it. It's if we fumble and he succeeds.
Weapon.
We just don't take the damage, but our weapon does disqualify us.
Yeah, so we can disqualify him, but someone else is just going to take his place.
That's not. I think
we're not going to win that.
I think you do. I think disqualification is the thread through to victory. It counts as you won that bout. Let's just reload.
How about we give ourselves a +1 bonus and then reroll it?
All right, so if we continue the loop, we go up to 105.
What is a partial success? By the way, is it that we both succeed but we roll higher?
Oh, here we go. Partial success. Oh, it's just written.
Oh no, that's if you lose. Yeah, fortunately, that's if you succeed and he succeeds, but he succeeds better.
I think
it definitely taught us this at one point, and I can't fully remember.
Yeah. Partial success is if you both succeed, but he succeeds in a better way.
That's it.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought we succeed in a better.
No, that's partial success because you've succeeded, but he's just been a better success.
I think that's right.
In that one, he gets through and does score a bit of damage on you. And then there's if you both succeed and tie, there's a different outcome. If you lose, there's an outcome. If you fumble, there is the only one that doesn't have an outcome is the one that we rolled.
Which it does. It just doesn't have it. It just doesn't have it in the solo.
Yeah. I think
someone in chat has nicely pointed it out that if we get a higher success, we just win. If we get a lower success, it's a partial success.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Excellent.
So we still succeed, we just don't succeed as well. Great, let's go again.
I think we very fairly should do it again. I think that's what it's telling us to.
That's right.
I'm entirely in favor of cheating and just saying we won.
Exactly.
But I think we roll again.
You know what? If we're fighting against the same person, let's give him a penalty of some variety.
Give ourselves like a bonus or something. I think it's fair if we give ourselves like a bonus to this, like a +1 or +2.
Well, I think he should take a penalty because he doesn't have
agreed.
So I will roll his with a
118 basically says
we crack his stuff.
Says you try and swing at each other and neither of you gets a hit in, and if we add to that his fumble, that might be us getting a hit in or him dropping his weapon and then picking it back up again, in which case he gets a penalty for the next round.
Okay. So for this one, we're going to roll once more. We're going to roll sword. I'm going to do ours as a straight roll again. I will say it's going to be a bit of a tough.
Watch us get crit by
failure.
this person with no weapon and destroy.
Fail again.
We are not very good at sword. This is not our episode.
We're not very good at fighting.
So here's where we get into, and now I'm actually curious because I kind of want to have a look at this kind of GM direction, I suppose. I'm not sure what the scaling of like penalties are. Like we were looking at a possible +5 from that mercy roll earlier. I don't know if it's sort of like a add +5s to things, or if it's like a +2s to things.
So specifically, they actually said so that passions give you like big bonuses, but small bonuses apply for other things,
like
and
stuff.
+5 was what was kind of a small bonus. So
that was on a
-5.
I think.
You know what we absolutely should have done here? We should have rolled against our merciful passion to see if we took this. If we took like the opportunity to whack this person. You know.
Oh yeah, and clear him out. Yeah. I'm just gonna quickly see if I can find like a in the skills like how the resolution works. What the
other one would be, you know, does this person still have access to the same level of skill because they're like using a different weapon?
He could roll brawling, but I actually don't have his brawling skill.
We would have gotten a +5 if we had critically succeeded on our merciful in that situation. This person has critically failed on something, so he must have that's a -5.
Yeah, I think that is enough to roll with. Let's do that. So I'm gonna roll his. I think also
it's not in the book, but heck it.
It's close enough.
Let's go.
He's going to take -5 and submit, which does make that a failure, because I think that would have been a success for him. No, he would have failed anyway. Okay, that's a failure.
So we're back. We go back to neutral and we swing again.
Go again. This could
the tension build.
Continue for a little while. All right, swords.
I'm gonna say probably he doesn't get the -5 again.
Oh wait, we finally succeeded.
Oh my god! Yay!
Yeah.
Head out of the way.
Are we giving him back his? Because
I've given him a full value for this one. All right, this is a partial success. No, we rolled worse. I think you want to roll highest within your band, because if you have 18, you can roll up to 17.
Got it, yeah.
If you only have 3, you can only roll up to 2. So that is a partial success for us. So we go to 109.
109.
Okay, right. You block and counter most of your opponent's blows, but one does get past you at the last instant. Fortunately, you deflect some of the force of the blow with your staff. Your opponent inflicts 2d6 + 5 damage with his blow. You are wearing a gambeson and open helm, which gives you 5 points of armor protection. If you are using your staff with the 2 and
you can see how important armor is in this.
If you are using the sword skill instead, you may add 2 points of parry protection.
7.
So we've got our gambeson, 5 points of armor, and 2 points of parry protection.
Yep. And the damage is already gone.
And parry protection values from his rolled damage, then reduce your hit points by the difference. Remember that if you take more damage than your major wound threshold or are reduced below your unconscious value, fight's over.
Okay, our major wound threshold is 15. We're fine for that. He dealt 9 damage. We reduced it by 7. We have taken 2. That is our wound. Add a wound.
We keep going.
And we've taken 2 damage.
I love that we can continue fighting.
We can keep fighting.
We can yield. Or my favorite, if you are at less than half of your total hit points and choose to keep fighting, check reckless. We don't have to. We're already there.
Oh my god. Well, it sounds like we have to keep fighting then. Let's do it.
We should keep fighting.
All right, let's go.
Return to 105 and find another.
We were thinking that this last section of this, we would probably like not spend a huge amount of time. Hey, guess what? We're going to keep hitting people until either they knock us out or we knock them out, and that's the rest of the session.
It does feel very like armored, kind of like knock back and forth, and you can just imagine those 2 juggernauts neither really able to get purchase.
Yeah, and like you can, when you're wearing gambesons, a gambeson, you can take a hit. You can and do take a hit with it. Like, having taken a hit with a blunt sword wearing a gambeson, it hurts, but it's fine.
Yeah, I forgot you have Hemer experience. Yeah, so
I haven't done anything in plate or anything, but in gambesons, in training armor, yeah, like you can blunt sword gambeson. If they're bigger than you and they're playing for keepsies, you're getting bruised, but like you can keep going.
Oh, and we actually don't get to. The partial success was just we reduced their damage. We didn't actually get an opportunity to whack them.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So we've got to like smack them. We're probably not going to win this fight, but hopefully we fight with honor. Hopefully we can lose with honor.
I mean,
I'm going to cycle us. I'm probably just going to start cycling us through until we decide things have gone poorly then. So I'm just going to...
Let's do it. Let's see how we go.
It's going to be ours and...
We succeed!
Oh, shit.
Oh, nice. Wow.
And we succeed by more. That's a partial success in our favor.
Hey, so we win.
So if you both succeed, your rolls and tie. No, if you win. We have 1, go to 107. You manage to wave past your opponent's
Yeah.
defenses and connect. The squire grunts in pain. So we dealt brawling plus 2d6. That is correct. I've factored that in. So we deal... Ooh, I really should have made it clear. I'm rolling ours first. And the top one is us.
Oh, you've already rolled ours. We did 13 damage to them.
Yeah, that's in there. That's right. I'm just clarifying that is the correct formula. I've put it in for it. So we deal 13
and
damage.
So we subtract 5 points of armor protection, and if he succeeded his skill roll,
7.
which,
Oh no.
Yeah, 5.
Sorry, if he succeeded, then
his
7.
skill roll, which he didn't.
Which is correct.
And
no, he did.
we
He did
subtract-
succeed. He rolled a 5.
My bad.
So we're going to reduce by 7. And then we subtract the total from our damage and reduce his hit points. So he is going to take, math, 6 points of damage.
That's pretty
yes,
heavy.
Pretty good.
If we
Yeah, that's more than him. He starts with 30 and has a mage and a conscious value of 8.
I can't believe it. Shows you
Yeah,
that
man.
fights aren't that. Yeah.
Okay.
Swing again.
Hang on. I need to record his flipping damage.
I love that there is an option that fully says, "Is he dead?
Is he dead? Did you kill
Is he
him?
dead?"
Is he
Go to
dead?
12. I'm like,
Is he at
That's
half or
doing that.
half
We
or
were
fewer
not
hit
pulling our
points?
blows.
No, we are not. We're getting his ass. All right,
Because we
He's
did
not
on
at
that
half.
first when we went, oh god.
back to the top. Our roll first,
Again,
then his.
again.
Us. A success.
Yes.
A palpable hit.
Oh my god, we are nailing this.
We rolled low
Okay,
though, so I
okay,
think he
okay,
will.
okay.
All right, partial for
oh,
us.
damn it.
So 10 minus 7, we take 3.
We're at a total of 5.
All right, roll again.
Straight back up.
We're getting our flow now.
Oh,
Success, failure. Oh, full hit. Cop that, mate. We will
Okay,
deal.
okay.
So we deal 8, reduced by 5. He doesn't get to apply his parry. He takes 3. He has a total of 9.
That's such a painful one to succeed on because we rolled so poorly.
We rolled really shit. Yeah. All right.
Well, I mean, look, I'm just surprised.
We're
it's
winning.
as much as
Nine.
We're
doing.
winning. He's on the ropes.
If we hit another 6,
Yeah.
I'm picturing the fight going back and forth. Like,
A major wound value is that they suffer that in a single hit, correct?
yes, but we just have to get them to their major wound value, and the fight is considered over according to the rule of this particular encounter.
All right.
Oh yeah, because half of you. All right, cool.
yeah. We want to get to
Let's
that
go.
half off you.
We fail. They fail. Nothing happens.
Stumbling around in the mud.
We
win.
succeed.
Succeed with
Oh, that's
shocking damage.
Go and get it. Cover. Take another 2, you nerd.
That's, oh my god,
God
that's
damn it. 8,
11.
11. We're scraping this. Oh my god, we've actually got way lower skill.
I just want to point out, just real quick, just so
He's
we're
gonna
aware.
crit us in the last one and we die.
No. If we win this fight, I did briefly read like a sentence. If this is the first fight we win, we have to do this again.
No way.
Yeah.
Square
we
up.
do.
Well,
we have
let's
to do
keep-
it twice.
Let's stick to it.
Oh,
We're gonna
wow.
start. We're gonna start really
We're
clicking.
doing
We're gonna
this.
really click these buttons quickly. Then. Oh my god, we're amazing. That's us again. 13
hold
damage
on.
and he
Oh
failed.
my
Seriously.
god.
We're
This is
nailing
fantastic.
Okay, so
That
13 minus 5 is 8.
8 more. That
that'll
I think
take-
gets him
that'll
over
So that
threshold.
puts him over
And
so
that
that
is
puts him over
19 total.
half.
That is 19 total damage
Yeah.
he has taken.
Oh,
Alright, let's go to that one.
yeah.
half or fewer. 119. May I?
This person was a
Oh,
lord.
yeah.
We're just whacking them.
Yeah, take it.
You have sorely wounded your opponent. He throws down his staff. I yield, he cries. Do you wish to keep going? If this is your first victory, you have time to fight another opponent before the Bohort ends, return to 105 and start a new combat. This time, you are fighting an opponent using his staff as a two-handed hafted weapon with a skill of 10. He has 24 hit points, an unconscious value of 6, and a major wound value, a threshold of 12. He wears a Hassel helm and gambeson, giving him 6 points of armor protection and does 1d6 plus 4 points of damage. Remember also that his grip gives him 4 points of parry protection with a partial success. If you have already fought two opponents or wish to quit the field, hand in your weapon and go to 92.
I note that we're not forced to do this based on a reckless thing. They've removed that condition, so we could very easily take this.
No,
to win
we
and
absolutely.
go.
We no. Let's
I
get
feel
his
like we
ass.
could just be like, that was fun. That was our first fight. We're going to take the W and leave. 'Cause
I-
we
Yeah,
get
I
bombed
kind
a
of
couple
I don't
times.
mind that because also like regardless of what we do, we just go back to 92. I don't actually think there's like
Yeah.
an outcome.
Oh,
for
I-
it
I
being-
think
'cause
that-
it
I
doesn't
think
like
we
if
will-
you-
Dave seems pretty keen.
I think we will definitely
Yeah.
get some bonus if we do both.
Oh, we got to go for it
I
then.
think it's a time thing because they've said that the next one, if you have already fought two opponents or wish to quit the field, so it's like you can fight a maximum of 2 times.
There's
in
only
this-
2.
in
There's
this
only
bit.
2 in total.
You're
Yeah.
only really allowed to do it twice. I mean, we could do it again.
All right, well, so
Going again?
I'm in favor, but happy to be outranked.
Let's do it. It's what the people.
Yeah,
are
go
here
on.
for.
Let's boop. Let's boop someone with a slightly different skill set.
All right, let's get his
Let's
ass.
boop
All right,
some
105. We've got it. We've got the.
We
Oh,
are
sorry.
gonna continue.
Can someone get his like numbers and just keep those? Because I've got him for 10.
Jim,
and, like,
you
his-
are doing a good job
Yeah,
of
I
stuff.
got it.
Can I give
got
you?
it.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
On a partial success, he gets an extra 4 points of protection. Otherwise, he's 6 armor normally, 10 armor if he they partially succeed. Oh no,
We
I'm
fumbled.
gonna sit on-
It's immediately over, I think. Good
Okay,
news.
Oh, and we broke our
Never
weapon.
mind.
Okay,
Did
all
he
right.
win, though?
If you fumble, go to 111.
Yeah, okay. He breaks
Yep.
it.
You take a wild string at your opponent and leave yourself wide open for a counter strike. Worst, he stomps on your staff as he does so, snapping in half. The crowd cheers at your humiliation. That should have been us cheering at his humiliation. Does not
hilarious.
succeed. Yada 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 yada. Doesn't. Otherwise,
not
loss of your
succeed,
weapon
so that's
disqualifies
fine.
you from the bowhawk. Return 92. Okay, well that was a very short-lived second battle.
You know what? I'm alright with that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
are
you can
reckless.
indeed win some and lose some.
Okay.
Mhm.
We are back to 92,
Back
and
to
where
92 we go.
would you
And
like to
Worst
go?
bit is we didn't even hold out hit.
Do we want treatment for our couple of points of damage?
Oh no,
I
we're
don't know.
fine.
Well, does that count as an injury? Like, is that just
Yeah,
we've lost hit
I don't
points,
think
or is
so.
that like a specific? Is an injury a specific?
I think
thing?
we've taken a wound. Let's check it out. It might show us how the healing works too. So we'll go
Yeah,
to
exactly.
120.
We'll go to
I
120.
think I'll take this section.
Yar.
Yeah, I don't know who we were up to reading, so let's start again at the top. Dave.
Back to the top. Going the slowest way possible. Limping and wincing from your wounds, you seek out a tent near Ludgate. Passing under the painted shingle depicting a snake with a head at each end, entwined around a staff and biting itself, you find the barber within bandaging a knight who managed to stab himself while training. Have a seat, and I shall be with you shortly, says the barber without looking up. The minutes pass like hours, but eventually the old man shuffles over to you and begins poking and prodding at your wounds with a copper probe, muttering to himself the whole time. His breath smells strongly of garlic. You distract yourself from the pain by focusing on his wispy white whiskers. He shuffles off and begins grinding up a poultice in his massive marble mortar. On the table next to him are displayed freshly blooded knives, saws, and drills, the grim tools of his trade. You faint. The barber has a first aid skill of 18. Roll on his behalf for each wound. On a success, you restore a number of hit points equal to your healing rate. Interesting. A critical success restores healing rate plus 3. A fumble aggravates a wound and causes you an additional 1d3 hit points. Each wound may only be treated once. So this is where we're talking about tracking wounds. So we have tracked one wound, right? And it is 2 damage with the quarterstaff. Our healing rate...
Wait, did we not get booped again? Was it only that once?
Oh, no, sorry.
We
I
got
only...
to 5.
Sorry, no, yes, we did. I just didn't
so
record the
we
second one
got
on my
2
sheet.
wounds.
Yes, so we have a second wound at 3. Also quarterstaff. And our healing rate is 3. And I believe healing rate is determined by constitution. There might be something else now, I can't remember. Okay, here's a roll. I'll just roll a d20 for his. He has
Girl
18.
goes shopping, goes to the hairdresser, barber, sorry.
Success. We heal a number of hit points equal to our healing rate. Each wound may only be treated once. So that suggests that he can treat each wound once, though, so he can roll again.
Yes.
And he succeeds both. So we heal each one by 3, which fully heals it, clears it, and we are
Yay.
nothing. We're all good. So that gets us fully healed. We'll return.
Essentially, he goes up and goes,
Kill a bruise there.
does that hurt? Poultice.
Ow.
Does that hurt?
Ow.
We go, oh, no.
All right, that sees us.
Ow, no.
That's it. We haven't done enough for a day. Do you want to pick us back up at 121?
Yes, no, because we go back to 92.
Yeah, where we immediately go to
Unless we're
121.
Then we bounce.
I went back and forth.
Sorry,
yeah.
gotcha. I understand. The day, which began so early and has been so full of wonders, is catching up with you at last. Your senses buzzing, you make your way back to the inn and collapse into sleep at the foot of Sir Ector's bed. Tomorrow, the tournament begins in earnest. By the end of the day, Britain will have a new high king. Go to 122.
I like the idea that if you have a high laziness passion, you like arrive immediately, say the day's been huge, and you're like, oh god, what a sesh.
Shall I continue reading? Or
Yeah, take it.
for this one? Okay. Also, another weird little guy, a dog, either
little guy,
eating
check.
the head of a goose or
Womp.
vomiting I don't know what's happening, but
Eat
it's
chomp.
weird. Nom nom. The day dawns overcast and cold, but the city is already up to greet the weak sun. London. Such is the excitement for the New Year's tournament. Your morning at the inn is spent in a flurry of activity, gathering the equipment needed for the tournament fighting, helping Sir Ector prepare his hauberk? Halberk? How do you say that? Alex?
Holberg, I guess.
Hauberk. Helm and shield, feeding and preparing his charger down in the stables. That and countless other tasks which keep you running about non-stop until the sun is peeking up over the rooftops. Arthur is every bit as harried and hurried in his duties for Sir Kay, so it is with some sense of relief that you both mount your roundseas and fall in line behind your knights. I guessed. That's a word I've never seen before, and that's fun. You exchange smiles, letting your agitation give way to excitement. Along the way, Sir Ector briefs you. We are to be divided into 2 cohorts, the Red Knights and the Blue Knights.
Cool.
Just getting Halo vibes.
Yeah.
And we'll fight a mock battle called a melee. Knights earn tally marks for performing great deeds on the field, such as knocking an opponent off their horse, taking a foe captive, or even performing a particularly thrilling display of martial prowess. The Lord Mayor of Londinium himself and the guild masters of the city sit as judges and keep a record of our marks. At the end of the day, the knight with the most tally marks is declared the Knight of Honor, and in this instance, acclaimed the new High King of Britain.
That is an insane and stupid way to make a king.
Psycho.
Yeah.
That is.
I mean,
also,
we don't talk about that long, so...
It's also very fun that, like, the Mayor of London and the Guildmasters are like, we kind of get to decide.
That'll do.
And what does this have to do with the dog absolutely gobbling down a goose?
And that's a 0 from the Russian judge.
Bless. This is, thank you for letting me read this bit. As squires, you are to ride onto the field with us, but you are not to fight. Your job is to hold back and look for ways to assist us, to replace a broken lance, to drag us off the field if we are knocked out, or to escort any prisoners we may capture back to the reset, which is our end of the field. Your head spins with all the rules and new duties, but you are determined to do right by Sir Ector. At the tournament grounds, a large noisy scrum has formed around tables where harried heralds are assigning overexcited knights to their cohorts. Ector and Kay dismount and take their place at the back of the mob when you notice that Ector is without his sword.
Come on, Ector.
You grab it from his charger and hustle forth to help him belt it around his thick waist. He grunts in approval. Welp, fetch my sword, says Kay absent-mindedly. Arthur turns pale. I forgot it back at the inn, Kay. Kay's face turns crimson with anger. Oh, Arthur, says Ector disapprovingly. Quick now, there's a good lad. Go back and get it, or your brother will be without his sword on the field. Arthur is off like a dart, shouting promises to be back with the sword in a twinkling. Minutes pass by. Ector and Kay give their names to the heralds and are assigned to the Red Knights. Kay keeps looking about for Arthur with murderous eyes. What could be keeping that inattentive fool? He turns to you. Go find the whelp and bring him back with my sword, or so help me, you do not need to be told twice. Good one.
That is a proper mess up by old Artie. Jim,
well, I mean,
take us to the next one.
In fairness, we got told 3 rules and our heads started spinning. So, you know,
yeah.
Jim,
should I take over here, or are you happy to? No, all right, I'm going to keep going.
Go for it. Go for it.
All right.
Yeah, I suppose we've only got a couple more cycles through. I think we're pretty close to the.
Yeah. Most of Londinium is at the tournament, and you run through Newgate and down the city's empty streets. It's quite eerie, really. The city is filled with so many people just this morning. It is now as quiet as a cemetery. Your heart is in your throat when you reach the inn. You find Arthur, but he sits against the front door, head on his folded knees. He looks up as you approach, and you see his eyes are rimmed red. They closed up the inn. He wails and bangs the door with his fist. Everyone is at the tournament. I can't get Kay's sword. What am I to do? Your mind races and several solutions suggest themselves. You could try to break into the inn. This is an emergency, and surely the Lord would forgive some petty larceny in the name of fetching Kay's sword. But then you suddenly remember that there is another sword that no one is using, the one in the cathedral courtyard.
Oh boy.
That is an insane, what a conclusion.
Oh boy.
I mean...
We have 3 options, and I'm gonna be honest, I think we just pick the obvious one, because that's what
I know which one our character would really break.
I think we're reckless.
Our character would be like,
I think
listen, you little shit.
I think we should do 124. I think we've literally told our so Ector's tried to take it, had no, or I refused to do so. Like, this isn't my place. There's no way a squire's going to take it. We are reckless. I think us breaking in. I also suspect the narrative will get it to where it needs to go. Like, it's one of those, like, it's a fixed point in the timeline.
Arthur's probably not ready for that shit yet. Like, it won't work, and then. Yeah.
I think we should 124.
I think we're just like.
I think that's us proving our loyalty.
Do you want some gentle? Do you want some gentle spoilers?
No.
Cool.
I think we should 124.
All right, 124.
Yeah, cool. Let's do it.
I'll keep going with 124. You tell Arthur to wait, that you'll fetch Kay's sword by hook or by crook. You lack either of those implements, but you do have your trusty dagger. You walk down a filth-choked alley, hop a low wall, and find yourself within the darkened back courtyard of the inn. While the front door is tightly secured, the latch on the back door is easily pushed aside with a bit of skillful knife work. This bit of breaking and entering does earn you a check to deceitful, however.
No shit.
You enter the warm confines of the inn and make your way to Kay's footlocker. Luck is with you. We're very honest, too. That's funny.
Yeah.
We probably should have rolled.
It's actually our one that we can't roll. Yeah, it's our 16.
Shall we backtrack now?
No, because I actually don't think we're not being dishonest. We're not being dishonest. We're just being like I think this is
one of those things that if we make it a habit, it could become a problem.
Yeah.
But
yeah, let's keep rolling then. Luck is with you as Kay forgot to lock it in his rush to leave this morning. Inside, you find his sword still in its scabbard. Re-emerging onto the street, you look around but see no sign of Arthur. You've scarcely gone a moment, it seems, yet he is nowhere in sight. Then you hear a shout from down the street in the direction of St. Paul's Cathedral. Oh, we missed it. You see Arthur trotting up the lane, a big grin on his face and a shining sword in his hand.
Okay.
Where did you start to ask? But Arthur does not stop to chat. Come on, he shouts. If we run, we can make it back before the melee starts. Go to 128.
It doesn't matter which one we chose,
anyway.
He gets the sword.
Yeah, absolutely. Fixed
he either
point.
went nearby when it happens or not.
Alex, do you want to take us from 128?
Yeah.
Sure do. You arrive back at the tournament grounds to find Sir Kay pacing up and down the sidelines. Most of the knights are already on the field, and the sound of cheering crowds fills your ears. The melee has begun. What in the name of Jesu took you so long, he bellows. In the next moment, he sees the sword in Arthur's hands. And whose sword is that? I found it, Kay, says Arthur, fighting for breath. It's a good sword, I promise.
We're standing there holding kiss.
You want this one or what?
Kay takes it in his hand and gives it a couple of swings, looking impressed despite his anger. Before he can say anything else, Sir Ector rises up and practically jumps off his horse. Kay, where did you get that sword? His eyes are wide with astonishment. I found it, father, says Kay without hesitation. No, you found it, says Ector, asks Ector, somewhat incredulous. Well, no, he did. Kay points to Arthur and Ector takes his youngest son by the shoulders, looking at him square in the eyes. Is what Kay said true, son? Asks Ector, his voice husky with emotion. Yes, father. Please don't be mad at him. This is all my fault. I stole the sword from the courtyard of St. Paul's. I shall put it back at once if you will only let me. Arthur's wails of protest draw the attention of several nearby knights who themselves had not yet entered the melee. One, an aging man of regal bearing who wears the arms of Cameliard on his surcoat, rushes forward. What's that? He's drawn it. The sword? The sword and the stone? Others quickly take up the cry. The sword! He's drawn the sword! Go to 129.
The sword, the sword.
It's a nice short one. The news spreads like fire, The news spreads like fire across ripened wheat fields. I don't believe it. I have to see this for myself. Make him draw it again. To the churchyard.
To the churchyard.
To the churchyard. A throng of people surges away from the tournament grounds towards the city. Sir Ector throws Arthur on the back of his nervous Rouncy. Ride for St. Paul's and put the sword back, lad. Put it back, Ector says with fear in his eyes. You'd best do the same, Ector shouts at you, lest you be trampled. Hop on. You swing into the saddle behind Arthur and join the press of knights streaming through Newgate. Fortunately, with your head start, you can avoid the worst of the press. That's another big one, so pass along.
All right. Murmuring crowds of horses, commoners, clergymen, knights, squires, lords, and ladies pack St. Paul's courtyard and surround the cathedral steps in a wide arc. Luckily, you and Arthur made it just in time before they arrived. You dismount and approach the anvil and stone with Arthur. A single horn sounds. The crowd suddenly grows quiet, and you see two wizened old men being escorted from the rectory to the top of the cathedral stairs behind the anvil and stone. One is dressed in a gilded bishop's cassock, the other in ragged, filthy robes. It's the Archbishop, Saint Dupricius. Dupricius? Someone shouts from the crowd. Ave Sanctus Dupricius. Ave, cries a pious Roman lady, hands clasped. The old man kindly smiles and makes the sign of the cross in the air. Dozens of people drop to their knees to accept the blessing. And that's Merlin, the archdruid of Britain, standing next to him. Why is he here? Says Sir Ector, with haunted look. Finally catching up to you and Arthur with a mounted Sir Kay close behind. You notice that Merlin and Ector are looking at each other with deep meaning. Then, with the crowd looking on, Arthur replaces the sword. It slips back into its slot in the anvil with a metallic hiss. He steps back and watches the courtyard fill with more knights, fresh from the tournament melee. Many are dripping sweat and some nurse minor wounds. Arthur looks very young all of a sudden, beside the sword and the stone. A mighty man, powerful of build and arrogant of aspect, jumps from his saddle. You know this man by reputation. It is King Lot of Lothian, one of the greatest warriors in all of Britain. He shoves Arthur aside. If this thing is going to move, it'll move for me, he declares to the crowd. Lot, 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 his household knights chant in encouragement. He grabs the hilt with both mailed hands and puts all his bear-like strength into the effort. But the sword will not move. He tries again, with no success, his face now red with exertion and frustration. Let the boy try, shouts someone. Was it Merlin? And then many more shout in agreement. Yes, let the boy try. Lot stares down at Arthur with angry eyes and steps aside to rejoin his knights.
Muttering, I loosened it.
Sir Ector, now beside Arthur, nods to him, and Arthur lays one hand gently upon the sword and easily pulls it from the anvil. The crowd, noble and commoner alike, gasps. He then slides it back into place. Another knight dismounts and shouts, It is my turn. I, King Urien of Gore, shall pull the sword, and pushes his way to the rock. Like Lot before him, Urien grabs the sword and tugs, pulls, then tries to manhandle it free, giving his full armored shoulder to the task, but the sword does not budge. As Urien walks away, flustered, the lad again steps up and pulls the sword effortlessly free. The High King, shouts someone. He's the High King! It's the prophecy! The boy drew the sword, shouts King Leodegrance to the crowd. This boy is the Pendragon. A few people in the crowd lower to their knees. Not while I live, shouts Lot, who draws his own sword and strides towards Arthur. His bodyguards dismount and fall into place a few steps behind him. You were the one who saw Arthur pull the sword the first time. Well, you now see Lot advancing with murder in his eyes. You know the right thing to do is speak up in Arthur's defense. But can you summon the courage in this moment of decision? So we're going to roll.
We get to draw Kay's sword and stab it.
This shouldn't be
make a valorous.
We've got to roll.
I think this should be honest versus deceitful, for we did not see him draw the stone, but we are willing to lie on his behalf.
We weren't there the first time.
We
We weren't there, but we were kind of there. Also, I just have this beautiful mental image of like Arthur just being like, shink, 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 shink.
Guys, this is really easy, actually.
I was at the Euro Disney the other day, where they have a sword in the stone exhibit, and can confirm perfectly normal to not be able to pull it out. Happens to everybody, best of us even.
All right, I'm gonna roll. Our Valorous is quite high. We have 15.
Is Arthur a character that wanders around, and like if they go up, the sword will come out for them? Or is it just locked forever?
I wouldn't know. I didn't hang around all day for hours hoping that Arthur would show up.
My understanding is that they are able to. Children can draw it. I think there's a mechanism that allows it to be done, is my understanding.
And my understanding was also that children at heart would be able to.
And here we are. And Jim has no sword.
I love that so much. All right.
So
Let's do it. Let's roll.
Oh yeah, we're Valorous. We're Valorous as hell.
We're
Cop
Valorous
that.
as hell.
And we'll tick that. Thank you very much.
Hell yeah. So
131.
if we succeed, we check it.
Go to 131.
Wait, you cry, arms wide, standing between King Lot and Arthur. Lot halts, turning his furious gaze upon you. You swallow hard, then continue. I saw Arthur, this youth here, pull the sword the first time. None of you could pull it when you tried. He is our new king. Lot takes 2 steps forward towards you and strikes you with his mailed left hand, inflicting 6 points of damage.
Dick.
It's like being struck by a boulder. You feel your back teeth crack and you drop to the ground as blood gushes from a gash on your cheek. The blow ignites the passions of all assembled, and a terrific melee suddenly breaks out as knights from many different kingdoms rush towards the cathedral steps. Through a sickening red haze, you see Arthur pull the blade once more, and it seems to your eyes that the steel flashes with a strange ghost light. Arthur then steadies himself against the anvil and defends himself against Lot. Go to 133.
Before you go, it's interesting to note. So that inflicting 6 points of damage, that means that is his brawl value. So where we have 4 or do 4d6 with attacks, he would do 6. So that's showing like how like yoked this dude is. A big strength.
Yeah. Wild.
All right, now keep going up.
Now King Ledegrance.
Close enough.
I'm gonna go Ledegrance. And his men, and a half dozen other knights, and many, many knights. Half a dozen other kings, and many, many knights swarm between King Lot and Arthur. The boy drew the sword, says Ledegrance. He is by right the Pendragon of Britain. No beardless boy shall ever be my king, shouts King Lot. Nor mine, says someone. Nor mine, come other voices. I say he is my king, shouts Ledegrance, and suddenly kneels before Arthur and proffers his sword. Arthur, with tears streaming down his face, gently takes it, saying, with a strangely mature countenance, As I am king, I accept your offer. Lot, seeing that he and his men are surrounded and outnumbered, throws his blunted sword to the ground with a clatter. I'll be back with a sword that won't fail me, he says, baring his teeth, as he leaps atop his horse. His guards pivot and spur their steeds, nearly trampling those left in the crowd. Others are doing the same, and a reproachful howl goes up from the crowd as they go. Hail, King Arthur, shouts Sir Ector, thrusting his sword aloft. The whelp, cries Sir Kay, looking astonished. Hail, King Arthur, echoes the crowd, and now Kay joins in again. Hail, King Arthur, and again. Hail, King Arthur! You look up to see Archbishop Dupricus on the cathedral steps and catch him nodding and smiling at Merlin, who smiles back and bows his head. Merlin's eyes suddenly dart to yours, and he winks at you, then disappears amongst the throng. You shake your head in amazement at the cheering crowds who have now lifted Arthur onto their shoulders. It looks like your dear friend Arthur, with whom you have shared a bench, mucked stables, and polished armor, is now to be the High King of Britain. But what will be your fate, young squire? If you successfully freed the bull, tried to pull the sword from the stone for Arthur, or defended Arthur against King Lot, go to 135.
Oh, we did defend him against King Lot.
So, and then it says, otherwise, you have 7 years of service in Sir Ector's side ahead of you, and in time you may well be knighted for your actions during this adventure. You may well be knighted. Your actions during this adventure presage your future. What kind of knight would you like to be? So 135, we made some strong choices.
Being reckless, I mean, genuinely really paid off here.
Also, reckless, well, and I think the last one was our valorous, which I think is the one that it gives you at 15 for being a knight.
So,
which is the one that got us the tick.
Shall I continue this, or do you want to? So 135. We must knight you first, I suppose, Sir Ector says to Arthur amidst the jostling and tumult. Arthur nods slowly as everything sinks in, then turns to you. And I will need a squire I can trust, he says, a twinkle in his eye. You grin at each other. You have 7 years of service as the king's squire ahead of you, and in time you may well be knighted. Your actions during this adventure presage your future. What kind of knight would you like to be? You have played a part, however small, in the birth of a new era. The boy king, as Arthur will soon be called, has many challenges ahead, but his reign will leave a mark on Britain and the world forever. Yay. Go through the prompts on Table 2 Story Awards and tally up your points, positive and negative, then compare them to the totals given on Table 3. What kind of knight are you? Your final score determines how far you are fated to rise in the knightly hierarchy. If you died during the adventure, you may still tally up your points. Legacies are an important part of the Pendragon gameplay experience, and you may view your total as how fondly you are remembered.
Well, that's funny.
Wow.
So,
all right.
For each, Jim, do you want to read through?
You please. No, you.
I think I can get it.
Skill.
Yeah, I've got it open, so I'll do it. So for each sketch, may have not been tracking these. I've only got one checked.
Oh, I think it's each one that we've actually checked. Like, we don't have to go through and go how many times we succeed or whatever.
Yeah, I know, but that's just like, I've only got one checked. Were we supposed to, did we check it every time we succeeded, or do we only do it when it tells us to?
No, I think it's when it tells us to, because remember, skills are different to passions, are different to traits. So we will get checks for different things. So this one's just skills. We're going to check one, we get one.
I'm going to quickly nip back and see if there's an introduction about. I feel like those should be.
While you're checking, I might just say something interesting that I noticed in the summary text. Then, patta by time. I read that I was reading some of the old like material. Sorry, I don't know what the source of it was from. It kind of came across it going through Uther's story, and I think that I like all the allusions to like these two are gazing at each other with meaning. I presume that's because of Merlin's involvement with like Uther's story, but I'm not 100% sure. There could be somewhat different. Anyway, it's fun to see all the allusions to like the deeper lore and figure out you're going to be able to explore that as you continue to play.
Nice.
As you said, I can't see one to tell me that they should have been checked. I think that's probably just
At any rate, how about
yeah, so we've got, in that case, we have one from that. So,
so 2 points.
Plus two, yeah.
For each passion checked, which I don't think we checked.
We have one.
Any.
We checked honor.
Right? So we get 3.
So 5.
For each chivalrous trait,
we checked merciful. Oh, sorry, these are traits. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
So if it's a bolded trait.
Yeah.
Did we check any of our bolded traits?
We did, but they're not listed the same way on this sheet, so I need to go back and check the.
All right, hold on. Let me go back to.
All right, so chaste, no. Forgiving, no. Merciful, yes. So that's 1. Modest, yes. That's 2. So 2. We have 2 of those checked.
Okay.
So 2 points per each.
Running total of 7.
I know.
Right.
No. If it's 2 points each, we're at 9. Because we got 2 from the first, 3 from the second, so we're at 5. Plus 2, we're at 9.
Yeah, so it's plus 2 points for each checked, so it'll be an additional 4.
My bad.
Yeah,
I had read one.
For any other trait checked, except as noted below. We
had merciful. We had, deceitful.
Except as noted below.
So
I think the noted below. Yeah, there's some of the ones that are bad.
Doesn't actually like.
Oh no, you know what I'm saying? I think we get negative for some ones. Let's apply them all and then just apply more negatives. So I'll just separate them. So I'm gonna apply all of them. So the other ones we get.
For any other trait checked, gain +1. So if we've got any that aren't bolded that we checked.
I'll quickly check. So we checked lazy, that's 1. We checked deceitful, that's 2. We checked
merciful when we climbed up on the barrel.
That one we've already done. We checked reckless, that's 3, and we checked valorous, that's 4. Sorry. So there's 4 from that. Some of those are negative ones. So I suspect they're gonna tell us we did a bad job.
We did not kill the boar single-handedly.
Nor did we know that we could.
We did not.
We did not get a noblewoman to give our favor. We did not set the bull free.
No.
We did not withhold damage at any point, but we did defeat one opponent, so we got a +1 for that.
Yeah.
It's funny to see how much you withhold damage for 3 rounds just and survive the melee. You could have that's almost more important. I love that you can be you can get so many points for just actually
just being a cool fighter guy.
If you told Arthur about the sword in the stone, which we objectively did not. If you tried to retrieve the sword in the stone before Arthur, we did not.
Nope.
If you defended Arthur in the face of King Loxander, which we did, +3.
Yep.
And the most important one, if King Arthur made you his squire, which he did, +5.
Okay, I'm just going to retally. 10, 15. We're at 18 plus the trait ones. So I think some of those are going to make us negative.
So if we lingered in the land of the good folk, we did not.
Cool.
For each check opposed to a religious or chivalrous trait.
Okay, so I need to go back up and check those now.
Deceitful.
I think a few of these ones are going to be. So lazy is 1. That's a -1. Deceitful is not 1.
Okay.
Interesting. We can be deceitful. Wait, honest? Nope, it isn't 1. Okay,
if it's
we're fine.
religious or chivalrous.
There may be
so I think
other...
the religious. Actually, I tell a lie. The religious ones I think were bolded. The chivalrous ones were starred.
Yeah, they're both marked. At least.
Is that right?
I think yeah. I think we're okay.
It may be that some of the other religions have honest as one of the key ones.
Oh, you're all right. Sorry. Yes, the religious ones are bold because valorous is one. Oh, we may have tallied this slightly wrong. What was the knightly thing?
Okay.
What's the change?
So for each chivalrous trait, so also it's probably worth noting chivalrous and religious traits are the good ones.
Yeah.
They are not the other ones. So anything on the left side, if they are chivalrous, which I think are starred, we get +2. For any other trait, we get +1.
Okay, we may need to read.
I was about to say it may not super matter.
Yeah, I don't think it's
super with inside the bracket, but actually we're kind of on the edge, it seems.
I currently have us at exactly 20, which I think is
right.
That seems higher than I would have expected.
The only one that is relevant. The only one that's really relevant is if we have any checks that oppose our religious or chivalrous, they'll give us -1 each. And then if we broke into the inn to get Kay's sword,
which it's a 19,
we get a negative. The others don't apply. We didn't kill our opponent, we didn't stay quiet, and we weren't tardy returning to Ector.
We are on the line between Banneret and Knight of the Round Table, I believe.
Shit.
And I don't know which one we fall on because of the...
How about, I think at this point we read the two of them and then people can recreate our adventures themselves and see what they get.
That works for me.
Yay! So, Jim, do you want to read them?
Yep, Jim.
Sure. Banneret, you were knighted by Sir Ector or King Arthur, and in time marry well, becoming the wealthy lord of several far-flung estates. If we've got more than 18, Knight of the Round Table, you are knighted by Sir Ector or King Arthur and go on to a great career. You are among the first to receive the personal invitation of the king to join his esteemed martial order, the Knights of the Round Table, a few years hence. Your name is destined to be remembered in tales. All hail, Sir Pridwin. That's a great map on the back.
I think that's pretty good.
Either way, we either did enough to get invited to the round table, or we are like one step away from that.
Yeah. Or we just had a bit more of a quiet life and had a family in the country.
And hey,
in the Cotswolds.
Basically.
Amazing. Hell yeah, we did it. Woo!
Cool, that was awesome.
Brilliant.
And nothing against Lot. Yeah, that was a big one for us, that valorous one right at the end there.
That Pendragon is fun. I'm excited to dive into it a little more at some point. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to have to resist playing a Norman knight and putting on the worst accent.
The like campaign contained is in the starter set is called the Sword Campaign, and it follows like early years of King Arthur's reign. And so I think it picks up like that, like, you know, like Lot going like, I'll be back with a real sword. I think that is part of the subject. Like, it's like him. I think he's one of the characters in it and very much present in the world. I haven't read it or prepped it or anything, so I don't know the detail, but it's a little teaser of things to come. But yeah, I think we should absolutely return to this. Some of the mechanics that we're beginning to seeded here, you can see laid out. They never got to the melee, or we didn't see it in the scene, but the, like, you know, your squires will come out and try and help you and things is represented in the mechanics too. There's that you basically have a squire skill, which is how good your squire is, and if they can fetch you the things in time as your knight rides about in battle, which is very cool. And yeah, there's elements of like charging and the brawling, and we got a bit of a taste for like how the combat cycle goes and how we resolve the hits, and the passions traits, all really cool elements in it, and definitely more that we can dig into. But yeah, this was just sort of a taster, things to come.
Brilliant.
I like the system. I love the system.
Yeah, I think it's really
just
fun.
It doesn't just very quickly looking at the traits that were bolded versus starred. It doesn't actually specify in the introduction that other traits those marked with a star are particularly important for knights, it doesn't call them chivalrous traits at any point in that little section. So we said we checked merciful and modest, yeah? Did we check energetic, just, merciful, modest, or valorous?
Valorous was the one that was... Yeah, we checked merciful, modest, and valorous.
In that case, we got +6. So I think we got enough to be round table.
I believe.
I mean, obviously that's the goal, right? So they would make it achievable.
Yeah, I think it's certainly possible. It's interesting we got that while, besides defending Arthur from King Lot, which actually we got away with, like, we had quite a high roll now, we have 15, and we actually we attempted a few of the other ones, but we failed them. Like the boar, I remember, like, we missed our opportunity there. We definitely missed our opportunity with the bull freeing. But yeah, still lots of things circling around. And I love just reading in there that there was, if you lingered in the lands of the good folk, makes me want to go back and find that. I'm sure that happened in the forest. In fact, we skimmed past a piece of art that had it, and I was like, I want whatever that was.
Yeah.
Something for another time.
If you were late getting back to Sir Kay after exploring the city was one of them.
Yeah, so maybe it didn't go one into the other necessarily if you dawdied for too long. Yeah, cool.
There's also a noblewoman that apparently we could have gained a favor off.
I reckon that was the party, the feast, I suspect.
Yeah.
We definitely felt like we
failed. We failed one of the checks. We spoke to people. We didn't try to quite get that last edge, if I remember correctly.
And another thing that I think is really interesting is that actually you get more points for having attempted to draw the sword yourself. Like, humility is not necessarily a virtue. Like, you do kind of need to get out there, and you have to kind of be like, because this is like your notoriety. You know, this isn't necessarily like positive. It's your reputation. It's how important you are. So like you have to try to do great deeds. And if you just sort of like meekly accept, you know, innocuous from the sidelines, then that's how you will remain. You need to get out there and do brash things if you want to make a name for yourself.
Modesty, passion working against you in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, that's the thing of like, there's the chivalrous traits where like you need to act honorably in a specific way, but you're also trying to balance that. And I think they said that in the introduction, there's a balance between like your reputation is neither good nor bad. It is just about how well known you are, but it's your chivalry that determines whether or not you are known for good or bad deeds. Like, you can be not chivalrous and not particularly well known, and you're just kind of an asshole. But if you're like not chivalrous but very well known, then you are like infamous in a way that still means that you're remembered, which is very cool.
So that was we have our honesty virtue, which is at 16. So that is something we are like renowned for. We are a very honest person. And then the like how far widespread that is reflected by the glory mechanic, which is kind of what we were seeing at play here at the end. Not explicitly, but it's the same sort of bones. And glory you earn through like your deeds and the adventures you take, and in large battles, which Pendragon has a really fun mechanic for, and I'd love to get a chance to try. Where you basically, rather than like going like toe for toe with people, you basically go around pursuing. You get chances to pursue objectives, like you can take out the archers, or you can attack the vanguard and try and seize the enemy's banner, and you get tons of glory if you succeed it, but you have to like break through and take huge risks. And as your glory gets higher, people, you know, you're more well known, and maybe people come for you a bit more. But that's kind of like the macro objective, I think, of the setting a little bit, is building that glory up so that you can just be more significant in the space.
So that's kind of what this little tally was at the end.
Taster,
this is like, if you were playing for realsies, these numbers would go towards your glory tally, but we're not giving you, we're doing the like, here's your number, and then here's
how the rest of your life goes.
Yeah, based on the glory that you got from this little story, which is fun. That's cool. I like it.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. All right, well, I think we will park it there. So thank you, everyone who tuned in to join us for this solo adventure. And if you'd like to play it yourself, pick up the Pendragon starter set. It's available. You can get it physically. Your sort of local game store, or through Chaosium.com, where there's also a PDF version available. There's a VTT format for it, and you can see what kind of knight you will become. Do you want to say something up?
I was just gonna say, like, especially because while some of us have like a passing understanding of Arthurian legend, whether that be via Disney or actual literature, we know about as much as any other person who would pick this up. So if you know more about it and want to give it a try to see how it feels from someone who has more of a grounding, go pick up a starter set, see how you go with it. Like we had a hell of a lot of time without needing to know a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more fun if you know more.
Maybe it's more fun if you know less.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're brand new to it, pick up the starter set and let us know.
If you want to be really surprised when Arthur, this no-name kid, draws the stone, the sword, whatever.
What?
Who?
What a twist!
That little brat.
Hey, you should get that guy. Lot.
We're changing teams. All right, we'll leave everything there. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and we hope we'll see you next week. Ciao.